Have you ever wondered if there's an actual repeatable blueprint for building serious wealth in America? We always hear this term easy money, and we kind of think it's just about luck or some secret trick. But what if it's not a trick? What if it's a system? Today, we're going to break down a pretty common path that people follow, a path that can take you from a simple side hustle all the way to owning major assets.
Okay, first things first, let's get one thing straight about easy money. This isn't about getting rich overnight or being lazy. Not at all. It's about being efficient. It's about setting up smart, repeatable systems that let your money do the heavy lifting for you. It's about growth that's built on a solid structure, a little bit of leverage, and of course, time. So that brings us to the big question, right? What is this blueprint? What's the actual system that can take a person from a normal income to real financial independence? All right, let's map it out. Look, for most of us, this whole journey doesn't kick off with a big inheritance check. Nope. It starts right here, in the very first phase, turning your hustle, your skills, and your time into cold, hard capital. This is all about building that initial engine for your entire financial future. And the starting point isn't some crazy revolutionary invention. It's actually really accessible stuff. Things like freelancing, running a little e-commerce store, or even creating digital content. The common thread with all of these is that they have super low startup costs, and they're flexible. That makes them the perfect way to generate that first bit of seed money without having to go beg a bank for a massive loan. But here's the thing. The hustle itself isn't the secret sauce. The real magic, it's in the discipline. The blueprint is super clear on this. You start small, you save all the profits, and I mean all of them, not just some, and then you plow that money right back into growing the business or into other assets. This is the moment where you crush lifestyle inflation before it starts, and it's where real wealth actually begins to form. Okay, so once you've built up that little pile of capital, the entire focus shifts dramatically. Phase 2 is all about automation. It's about making your money start working for you so you don't have to work so hard for it. And this right here, this is the turning point. On the left, you've got active income. That's trading your time for money. It's always going to be limited, right? There are only so many hours in a day. But on the right, you have passive income. This is where your assets are working for you, around the clock. This is what scales. This is how you break free from the clock. So where does that capital you've been saving up actually go? Well, it goes into these foundational things. Boring but effective stuff like index funds, retirement accounts, and dividend stocks. Look, these aren't flashy get-rich-quick schemes. They are the reliable financial backbone that's designed for steady, compounding growth. They build the safety net that you'll need for bigger moves later on. And if you ever, for a second, doubt the power of being consistent, just look at this. In the first year, the growth is tiny. You barely even notice it. Even after 10 years, it's just getting started. But by year 20, whoa, compounding takes over and that growth just explodes. It becomes exponential. This is exactly why that discipline we were talking about earlier is so crucial. Small, consistent actions really do lead to massive results over time. Now, all of this discipline and investing leads to the first huge milestone. The goal is to get your passive income, the money your investments are making, to a level where it covers your basic living expenses. The moment that happens, you've done it. You are financially free. The pressure's off. You're no longer working just to survive. You're now in a position to build, which lets you think on a much bigger scale. And thinking on that bigger scale, well, that leads us to the final stage of this blueprint, what we can call the real estate endgame. This is where wealth isn't just built anymore, it's multiplied. So why is it such a powerful multiplier? The answer is one simple word: leverage. Think about it. With just a 20% down payment, you get to control 100% of a property. That means you get all the benefits of an asset that's 5 times the size of your initial investment. That is a seriously powerful tool you just don't find in many other places. And on top of that leverage, real estate has this amazing 1-2 punch. It can literally pay you every single month with rental income, that's your cash flow, and at the exact same time, the value of the asset itself can be growing in the background. So it's working for you in 2 different ways all at once. Let's break this down into 3 pillars that accelerate wealth. First, there's cash flow. Your tenant's rent not only covers your expenses, but it pays down your loan for you. You're building equity with someone else's money. Second, you've got appreciation. That's the long-term growth in the property's value. And third, unique tax breaks. This one is a big deal. There's something called depreciation that lets you deduct a portion of the property's value from your income each year, even if the property is actually going up in value. It's wild. And when you get these three things working together, that's what creates truly rapid growth.
And the blueprint gets even more specific here. Why aim for luxury properties in the endgame? Because they just tend to perform better across the board. They often attract more stable tenants, they can command higher rents, and they tend to appreciate faster in value, which maximizes all three of those pillars we just discussed. But let's end with a really critical piece of perspective, because this quote right here, it sums up the entire journey. You don't just jump into buying luxury real estate. That's not the starting point. It's the result. It's the final piece of the puzzle, and it only comes after years of following the blueprint, building your capital, automating your income, and then leveraging your assets wisely. So, after seeing this entire path laid out, from the first dollar earned in a side hustle to the final asset, it all comes back to a single question. It's not about getting overwhelmed by the endgame, it's just about figuring out that very first move. So, what is the first step on your blueprint?